Good afternoon, one and all. Thanks again for being here. Welcome to my home, to my kitchen, and most importantly, to my heart. Today we're cooking. Last time, we kind of talked about what we were going to do. Today, we're actually getting into the kitchen and we're going to cook. All right, our first dish that we're going to work on for you today is my VEAL OSSO BUCO RAGU. I chose this particular sauce because it's one that I am incredibly confident and comfortable in. It is one that's got so many great practical uses, and I'll share some of those uses with you as we get through the actual production of the sauce. And I hope you enjoy what we're about to perform for you. So let's sit down, relax, and enjoy. That's where the flavor's at. So today's dish, the VEAL OSSO BUCO RAGU, starts with what any VEAL OSSO BUCO starts with, and that is veal shanks. I have 4 beautiful veal shanks here. They're complemented with what we call a fancy, bouquet garni, which is a fancy word of a collection of some fresh herbs. The herbs I've chosen today are fresh sage, a little thyme, and some fresh rosemary. The mirepoix, typically known as being aromatics in a sauce, celery, carrot, and onion, and every mirepoix I do will always be complemented with a little diced pancetta. Little flour for dredging the veal shanks, little tomato paste, some butter. I have a combination of a little veal stock and vegetable stock, salt and pepper to taste. And what dish would be right without a splash of wine? So that's our ingredients for the dish today. Let's get started. So we're going to salt and pepper the veal shanks on both sides generously. Flip them over. We're going to do a little dredge of flour. And we're going to lay them right in the hot pan with the bouquet garni. We start generating some flavors from the fresh herbs, the butter, and of course the star attraction, the veal shanks. All we want to do here now is just brown the veal shanks on all sides. All right, the veal shanks are brown. It's time to take them out of the pan, for now at least. So we'll take these out. Let them sit for a little while. In goes the mirepoix. Carrots, celery, onions, and the ever so important pancetta. Because you know why? Because why not? And we'll get a nice little heat on those. You notice at the bottom of the pan here, you see all that little brown? Those are flavorful little bits. When we deglaze with the red wine, we're going to make sure we get all those bits up and into the sauce. Up. Smoky. Get the fire alarm started. All right, we're just about ready for a little tomato paste, just to sort of bind it all up. All right, we'll swirl that in. All right, so just a few minutes of the tomato paste, just tying it all in with those wonderful vegetables and aromatics. Nice little scent of tomato in there. Don't want to burn anything. Very important. You get everything out before anything burns. And now the wine. Now the recipe calls for a half a cup. I never put a half a cup of wine in anything. So I'm just going to pour freely. We're going to reduce it anyway. And because I have a bigger pan or pot here than I had hoped to have, I'm going to need it to get all these wonderful little brown bits up off the bottom. And you can see how that wine almost serves as like Windex on a glass. Gets them all up nice and easy. All that wonderful flavor working itself in. I'm going to turn down the heat just a bit. Now that the wine's pretty much evaporated, the alcohol has made its way out and into my nose. Now it's time for the stock. So again, half veal stock, half vegetable stock. Gonna throw it right in. And we're just gonna mix that all up. Got a little flavor there. I'm gonna just to finish that off. There we go. Just set them in there gently. And here's where we just let them braise slowly for the next 3 hours. Who's ready for a glass of wine? I know I am. So I'll put the cover on it. I'll come back to it every so often, turn the shanks upside down and then right side up again over the course of the 3 hours. But what'll happen here is the shanks will cook in their salt in these juices. They will break down and become incredibly tender until they actually literally fall off the bone. So we'll come back in about 3 hours and I'll show you what it looks like then, and then we'll have one more stage to go before we actually have the finished sauce. So see you in a little while. All right, we're back. It's been 3 hours. Felt like it just flew right by. Our sauce has done everything it was supposed to do. Our veal is broken down. The bones have sort of extracted themselves from the beef. The next job that we do here is we actually extract the beef or the meat from the pot. We let it cool. We let the sauce continue to simmer softly. We pick the meat. We make sure we extract to get rid of all the fat. The bones, very, very important here. The bones have marrow in them. Marrow is the nectar of the gods. Whatever you do, don't just throw the bones away. Take a little spoon, scoop them out, and get it in that sauce. You'll be amazed how enhanced the flavors will be by using the marrow from the bones. Once that's done and the meat's picked and ready to go, we put it all back in. We keep it on very low heat and we let it simmer just a little bit, and all of this comes together. Come back in about 15 minutes and we should have the finished product. See you then. And our sauce is done. The meat's in the beautiful juices. It's all kind of come together nicely, a nice rich veal ragu. Now, I talked about some of the applications I like with this particular sauce. One of them is obviously just tossed with pasta, nice little dollop of ricotta cheese, a little grated Parmesan, absolutely heaven on earth. The other thing I love to do with this dish, and I would probably call it my signature dish, is my osso buco lasagna with saffron pasta. Layers of saffron pasta with bechamel in this particular sauce. But because it's the afternoon, because we're here around lunchtime, I thought we'd do something a little bit more casual and fun with it. Something I introduced at an event a couple of years ago and went over pretty well. Everybody likes sloppy joes. Here we are in an Italian household, sort of filming somewhat of an Italian show. Joseph, or Joe, in Italian is what?
Giuseppe.
Giuseppe. It's Giuseppe. And what sounds like sloppy, but maybe go with Giuseppe? Messy. We're gonna make a couple of messy Giuseppes. Yay. All right, very simple sandwich. Just you take your little brioche bun, you take a spoonful of your sauce, and again, get it on the plate. It's messy, it's supposed to make a mess. It can't be neat, it can't be clean, it can't be pretty. It's gotta be ugly, it's gotta be messy. So we've got that. We take a spoonful of ricotta cheese. Thank you, Galbani, for this. I season it with a little fresh grated Parmesan, a little basil, a little fresh parsley. And then we just finish it off with a little chiffonade of some fresh basil. And there you have the messy Giuseppe. We'll serve this to our guests. Virginia, if you would.
Oh, yes.
All right. Let's see there. Oh boy, that's what I love to hear. Oh boy, I really went and did it this time. There you are, my lovely bride. Kevin, you in? Just making sure. Again, gotta make it messy. Gotta keep it messy. All right. Now, because this sauce has so much going on, you've got the veal, you've got the aromatics, you've got the pancetta, you've got the tomato. Pairing a wine with it is always something that, for me, is very important. Because there's so many different flavors, I love blends. All right, blends offer a variety, or more than one or two different flavor profiles. This wonderful red wine from Sicily called Lignum, a red blend, blend of Merlot, Cabernet, and Syrah. The beautiful fruit flavors of the Merlot, the structure of the Cabernet, and that sort of spice and earthiness in the Syrah all kind of come together and make for a perfect complement to this dish. I recommend you look it up in your markets, wine markets, and enjoy it with the VEAL OSSO BUCO RAGU. I hope you enjoyed this segment. Come back next week. Next week we're making a little fresh pasta. One of those pastas we're going to actually use to make a little fettuccine alfredo. And thank you for being here today. Remember, fat's where the flavor's at. God bless you all. Thank you for being here. See you next time. Ciao.